Hey guys, how you doing today? This is David Lucas back here again. Welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm coming back at you guys again for another review, another MCU review we got going on here. And in this review is the other series that's on Disney Plus, the other Marvel series that's on Disney Plus. This one is Hawkeye. Yeah, guys, we're finally here now to Hawkeye and the Marvel series reviews on Disney Plus. We're finally here to Hawkeye, and Hawkeye's been one that I was actually really looking forward to. I actually was really interested in Hawkeye, especially because I am interested in the Hawkeye character in general. Always liked him in the MCU, always liked the way how Jeremy Renner portrayed Clint Barton, even though they portray him not necessarily different from the comics, but he's been through different kind of struggles and trials than he did in the comics, but at the end of the day, he kind of still is the Hawkeye Clint Barton from the comic books, even though he went through different stuff, if that makes any sense. When I heard that they were doing a Disney Plus series of Hawkeye that was also going to bring in Kate Bishop, who was the second Hawkeye in the comics, I was really intrigued by this, especially when they casted Haley Steinfeld as Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. It got me really like, okay, I like that casting, now I'm interested in the show. And I know that this video is coming a little bit late because Hawkeye came out November 24th on Wednesday, and surprise, surprise, that was my birthday on the same day, so I kind of was a little bit busy for that day, and then right after that was Thanksgiving, so I had a couple days of recovering and breaking and all that stuff, so I am here now, even though I know it's late, but I'm here now to review the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Now, basically, the overall plot of this show so far is that it's just about Clint Barton during the Christmas holiday. He is spending time with his family in New York, and all he wants to do is spend time with his family. Meanwhile, a young archer named Kate Bishop is rising up, and she is starting to take matters in her own hands and becoming a Hawkeye of herself, in a way, and start doing her own thing. And then eventually, their paths coincide, and then Hawkeye has to realize, Clint Barton's Hawkeye has to realize, that he can't really spend time with his family just yet on a Christmas, that there are more pressing matters at hand once his original identity, the Ronin, starts coming back to light again. Now, right off the bat of the show that I gotta say that I really love is that we usually hear about, like, in all these Marvel movies and even DC movies and comic book movies in general, that this movie is based off of this comic book and all that stuff. We always hear that, but then when we watch the movies or show, we usually realize, like, yeah, it's not really based off of this comic book completely. You just took maybe like a scene or a line from that comic book and then said it's based off of that comic book. But this case, this is probably like one of most, next to Daredevil Born Again in the season 3 of Daredevil, this is next to one of the best adaptations of a comic book. Actually, a more true adaptation of the actual comic book. This show, Hawkeye, is basically, they said it's basically was based off of this comic book, the Matt Fraction comic book of Hawkeye. It's basically the introduction of Kate Bishop and all that stuff that we got in here. Honestly, is a great comic book. This came out like right before the Avengers movie. The very first Avengers movie came out on here, and I gotta say, this is probably one of the best modern solo comic book movies that I've read in a long time. It's a really great comic book. Take place basically all about Clint Barton in his daily life when he's not working with the Avengers, and Kate Bishop comes along in the comic book too. So it's pretty much almost from like page to page identical to this. When you're watching some of the scenes and some of the stuff that's going on in the show, it is very, very heavily based off of this comic book, and especially just down to the looks and the way how they're dressed and the way how Kate Bishop and Hawkeye's relationship with each other, and it's all from this comic book, and it's all really done, I think, really well. Have a great adaptation, probably one of the best adaptations of a comic book to show or movie, I think, in my opinion. Like I said before, I love Jeremy Renner in his role. I think he's great as Hawkeye. He's perfect as Clint Barton as Hawkeye. Even though the show is named after him and stuff, I do realize, at least in the first couple episodes, he did take a little bit of a seat back in here, but I still think that was fine because we got like a lot of him from all the previous Marvel movies, and I feel like the characterization and just the way how all the stuff that he's been through in the previous movies really lines up to where he's at right now in his life, taking care of his family. He just wants to take care of his family for Christmas, just wants to be with his family for Christmas. He doesn't want to get involved in any of this shenanigans that is starting to take place now. Something too in the show that I'm really noticing right off the bat, and I hope they keep this throughout the show, is that I really love the groundedness and kind of like real life stuff it feels. Like, it feels really real, feels really brutal and grounded. It reminds me a lot of Daredevil and those shows, the Netflix shows. It's that type of groundiness where you actually see the blood coming out of them, you see the cuts on them, you see the bruises, this. You see them in sore and pain, and that also kind of really goes right back to the Matt Fraction comic book, where you constantly see them in bandages and constantly see them fixing each other up and sewing themselves back together and putting band-aids on them, or in the hospitals. There's really funny scenes where he's in a hospital and stuff like that too. The show honestly does really capture the comedy good too. I really think they do the comedy really well. It's classic MCU comedy. It doesn't bite over your head. It's just perfect for Clint Barton. I love like that one scene when he's in that one LARPing role-playing type of thing, and he kind of sits back and he thinks, he's like, and to think I thought Thanos. Also love too kind of the little mystery that's going on in the show, how we're getting a little bit mystery with the Bishop family and her mom Vera Farmiga, who she's playing, and her whole role and some skeepy stuff that she's up to. The same thing with her stepdad, her new stepdad in here, who plays the swordsman, I believe, from the comics. He's in here too, and I think he's up to something too. I like this little conspiracy and little stuff that's going on that's between her family, that Kate Bishop's family, that Vera Farmiga is playing the mom. And I don't know, I have a feeling there's something going on with her that she might end up being the main villain. I don't know, but there's something very fishy going on with that. At the ending of episode 2, we got a big reveal of it, and now the big reveal was the comic character Echo, who is basically a deaf martial artist, basically, and she's like part of like the Daredevil kind of universe and all that. In the comic books, at one point, she becomes the stepdaughter of Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. She becomes his stepdaughter because, of course, he goes and kills her whole family, so he takes her under her wing. And if the rumors are true, we're hearing a lot of rumors that Vincent D'Onofrio, who played the Kingpin in the Daredevil series, is coming back to play Kingpin again in this show in Hawkeye. So she is probably having her review of Echo in here, is probably hinting towards that we might see Wilson Fisk's the Kingpin played by Vincent D'Onofrio, because he did make a tweet when this show was released. He made a tweet saying this show looks fun, and he hasn't done that with any of the other Marvel shows. So I'm holding out hope that we're going to see some Kingpin in this show. Now, finally, one of my big standouts of this show that you guys probably already know is one of the main characters of the show is Kate Bishop, played by Haley Steinfeld. Honestly, perfect casting. I think she is just hands down perfect casting for this role as Kate Bishop. She is up there as Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. She's up there with them, in my opinion, where this is literally, you're taking Kate Bishop, her looks, her attitude, the way she talks, all right from the comics, grab it, put it in real life, and boom. That's Kate Bishop. That's literally Kate Bishop. Like, I'm reading that Max Fraction comic as I was watching the show too, and I'm reading it, and I just can't help to think, oh yeah, this is Haley Steinfeld. This is her. Like, it's straight up her. She did Kate Bishop, I think, brilliant. Just the first 2 episodes, I love what they're doing with her. I love the whole kind of story, and I even like, too, how it's starting, like, you can tell that she's going to end up taking the rings of Hawkeye pretty soon, and I like that. I also like, too, the relationship that they had with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop so far. I love their relationship. It reminds me a lot, again, of that comic book. It reminds me a lot of their relationship in theirs. Basically identical from in there. I love that they're having that, mentor and mentoree kind of relationship. Even though I know in the comic books it's a little bit of the opposites, especially with the dog and all that, and the apartments. It's Hawkeye's apartment. He's the one that finds the dog and all that. And in this one, it's her apartment, and she finds the dog. So there's a little bit of, a little bit of flip-flop over there. But at the same time, it feels just like the comic books, and it feels just like how the characters should feel. And I really like that. So far, my really only complaints of this show so far, and only for the first 2 episodes, is that I feel like even though the show is called Hawkeye, I feel like they aren't necessarily focusing on Clint Barton's Hawkeye stuff, which is completely fine. Again, I am loving a Kate Bishop character. I love seeing her on screen. I love Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. I don't hate it at all that she's, basically the main character of this show. I just wish in the first 2 episodes we maybe got a little bit more of Clint, and maybe seeing a little bit more of Clint than what we did, but those are only the first 2 episodes, so it might change pretty soon. So guys, so far on Hawkeye, my overall thoughts so far on the first 2 episodes is that I am really liking this show. I think it's a pretty good show, a pretty good start to the show. Is it my favorite start to the any Marvel Universe shows? No, I think that still holds up to Loki, and then probably Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then maybe this show, and then I think I would say this show, and then WandaVision. But I end up loving WandaVision later on as it went on, because WandaVision started out a little bit for me, and then went to become really good. Falcon and Winter Soldier started out really good for me, and then ended a little bit Loki was just good all the way through, in my opinion. I thought Loki was just great. There's maybe one bad episode in Loki. This so far, first 2 episodes, I enjoy it a lot. They're not the best first episodes of the Marvel's TV series, but I enjoyed them nonetheless, and I had a good time with them. So I am definitely sticking through for the next couple episodes. I think there's 6 episodes all together in this show, so I'm sticking through to all of them. And if you guys like this review, I will be posting my reviews for the next episodes that are coming up each week. So guys, let me know down in the comment section below, and let me know your thoughts on Hawkeye. I always like to know your guys' thoughts on these stuff. Did you like Hawkeye? Did you didn't like Hawkeye? Did it succeed your expectations? Did it didn't succeed your expectations? Are you going to stick through for the rest of the series? Let me know down in the comment section below, and let me know your thoughts on it. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I got a whole bunch of stuff on there, a whole bunch of content. I got movie reviews, I got reactions, I got discussions, I got theory videos, all up on my channel. Go check it out if you're interested. And of course, until next time, guys, we'll see you later.